Humans of the cardboard, welcome back to Just Nuts, guys. Huge news dump tonight. We have new Sinful Spoils cards. We have new Goblin Biker cards. 3 new Goblin Biker cards. Not what I expected from this set. And a brand new Diabellstar lore archetype called Amazena, I think is the name. But we'll get to that at the end. We'll start with the smaller stuff and work our way up to the big stuff. Gonna try to move at a decent pace here so that way we get to everything. I think there's like 12 or 13 new cards here overall. Let's just get into it. Let's start off with the one random Sinful Spoils card here. It's a new trap card called Sinful Spoil Offenders. This card didn't seem too relevant to me, but we'll see. You can only use the first and second effects of this card's name, each once per turn. First effect, if your opponent special summons a monster from the deck and or extra deck, and you control a Diabellstar monster card, target one monster they control, shuffle it into the deck. Meh. That is a pretty mid interruption. It requires you to have a Diabellstar monster, which normally you don't want to leave on the field anyway. And it has like a specific type of trigger. Some decks can totally work around this and have an out for back row without even like having to like trigger this potentially. And I don't know about that. This is just not that impressive of an interruption with those two things combined specifically. And second effect, during your if your Diabellstar monster battles an opponent's monster, you can banish this card from your graveyard. That opponent's monster's attack becomes halved until the end of this turn. Yeah, pretty negligible. Nothing crazy here. This card is a pretty throwaway card unless we get like a legit Diabellstar archetype where like legit there's an entire archetype that has like a bunch of different monsters with Diabellstar in the name, extra monsters that you actually want to end on, and you can get this card really easily, then maybe this card's worth it. But right now with the given position of where Diabellstar is, it's more of an engine card. You're going through it to get to where you want to go. You don't end on it usually. So I don't think this card's all that useful. As of right now, maybe it's a card we come back to and keep in mind, but for now we're going to move past it. All right, Goblin Biker cards. Here we go. Really excited for these. I like Goblin Bikers a lot. I felt like they deserved a wave in the last set, Infinite Forbidden, that I didn't really get, but I'm glad to see 3 more cards here. Let's hope that they are good. This card is called Badass Goblin Bikers. There's just no way that's going to remain the name. I assume that's going to be translated into something else. But level 6 Dark Fiend, 2400 attack, 0 defense. Second and third effects are hard ones per turn. A little bit weird here. This is now the only level 6 main deck monster. That's a little weird to me. If you control no monsters, or all monsters you control are goblin monsters, you can normal summon this card without tributing. If this card is normal or special summoned, you can special summon one level 4 or lower goblin monster from your deck. Okay. And the third effect of this card is sent to the graveyard, just period, sent in any way. Target a card on the field, attach it to your goblin XYZ monster as material. Oh, that's kind of cool. That means even as material, if you ever detach this as material, like on the opponent's turn from an Exceed monster, then engrave this triggers to like target an opponent's card and suck it up for an extra interruption. That's a nice little bonus effect. Okay, where are we with this? Does this replace Tour Guide as the best normal summon in Goblin Bikers? It 100% would if it was level 3. But I'm having second thoughts because it's not level 3. The question is like, is this card too clunky because it's a 6? Not in like even though it doesn't have an effect that special summons itself, just the fact that it can be normal summoned may be good enough. But my problem is, like, at least Tour Guide's level 3. So when it summons specifically the level 3 Goblin Biker, that's a fiend, you at least go right into Big Head Gabanga. This card doesn't get you to Big Head Gabanga like that. I mean, I guess you can summon the Searcher, and then the Searcher can search the continuous spell that can, that I think can change him to a 3? No, maybe he doesn't change him to a 3. Maybe makes him... I can't even remember exactly how the continuous spell works. I know it has a level modulating effect. I'm not sure if it can get him down to a 3. I honestly can't remember, but interesting card. Honestly, I'd have to look back into the specifics of how some of the other cards work. There is a world where this replaces Tour Guide, and having Goblin Biker in the name gives it obviously synergy with other cards in the deck. The spell that already exists in the deck that's able to just summon Goblin Biker straight out of the deck. This now becomes like actually a really solid alternative target to the regular what's the other searcher, so that way if you already had to start with him, you were like, oh, what else am I even getting? I guess I'm just getting another name. Now you're getting him, who then summons another one, so you're getting a 2-for-1 out of it. It is probably going to see play in the deck no matter what. I'm just not sure if it's like a 3 of that replaces tour guide as your normal summon, or if it's a 1 of that you kind of use for that utility of like, oh, I already went through the main searcher guy. I can't remember his name off the top of my head. So I'll go for this guy this time, summon him out, and then get an extra body for free. But still interesting to see, for sure. Alright, continuous spell, Goblin Biker Grand Imprisonment. Quick play, like to see that. First and second effects hard once per turn. Tribute 1 monster as cost. Oh, Lair of Darkness support. Special summon 1 Goblin monster from your deck, but it cannot attack this turn. Whoa! Okay, hold on now. That's actually not a bad card at all. Like, literally at all. That's solid. Now, the question becomes, again, like, is summoning 1 goblin monster out of the deck full combo, right? Like, that's really where the deck, I feel like, has kind of not been as good enough yet, because, like, using this, now that we're losing a body, we're technically going 2-for-1, right? Or, well, 1-for-2, I guess. You're giving up two resources, a body on field and this card, to get 1 goblin from deck. But if a goblin you're getting from deck isn't full combo, like, again, summoning a 6 that then gets a 3, and then those cards can't really make you a rank 3 from there, that could be a little bit problematic, but I'm not entirely sure just yet. There may be ways to work around that. But anyway, yeah, still pretty decent. This actually could be a 3 of extender in the deck. I would not be too surprised for a deck that already kind of likes to mess around with like E-Telly in it already. And the second effect, when a monster declares an attack, you can banish this card from grave and detach any number of materials from your Goblin XYZ monsters. All face-up monsters your opponent controls lose 1,000 attack for each material detached until the end of this turn. Fine, like it's a battle effect. It is a decently substantial one, at least at like running over boards. At least, like, so, like, even going second, like, playing into a board, potentially using this to, like, play through interaction, keep extending, and then if you get enough bodies to, like, actually go for game, this does lower everything your opponent controls, so you could just make everything potentially even 0 on your opponent's board, or at least very small, and maybe even push straight for game, or at least get over big stuff. That's not the worst thing in the world. Alright, last card here, of course, is another trap. I don't know why they keep trying to make Goblin Biker traps where, like, we keep ending up on the same conclusion of, like, you only want to play 1 at most, not more than 1, but now we have 3 that are, like, fighting for the same 1-of slot in the deck, but we'll see. Goblin Biker Grand Crisis, continuous trap. You can only use the first and second effects once per turn. The first effect reads, you can target 1 goblin monster you control and 1 monster your opponent controls, or a goblin monster in your graveyard and a monster in your opponent's graveyard, banish both. Okay, that's not terrible, honestly, because it's not on activation or anything, so as a continuous trap, the fact that we can just fire this turn after turn is actually not bad, and it's a permanent banish. It's a decent eruption. I'd have to read over the other traps again to see, like, as an interruption, if this is, like, better, like, how much better or worse this could be compared to the others, but, yeah, that's not bad. And then the second effect, you can send this face-up card from your spell and trap zone to the graveyard to target 5 of your banished goblin monsters with different names and special summon them. Special summon them. That's crazy. So you have to have all of your main monster zones open, because you have to summon all of them and you have to target 5. So you have to have literally nothing in your main monster zones. You have to get 5 of your goblin monsters banished with different names. This effect is never alive. Okay, cool. It's a throwaway effect. The first effect, though, may actually be good enough. We'll see. This actually could be something interesting, but we'll see. I'd have to read the other traps again and see which one I like the most. But honestly, the spell and the monster are interesting. At the very least, I'm not sure if they're all the way there, if it pushes Goblin Bikers that much, but they're definitely welcome for the archetype, so we'll definitely mess around with those. Alright, and finally we finish with the new archetype, Amazen. It's a new fusion-based archetype. I've already seen some of the artwork here. They look pretty cool. They have like these weird wolves that are coming out of the woodworks here. Alright, this is Amazen Rehea Silvera. No main deck monsters with this archetype, by the way. Dark Illusion, more illusions. Fusion effect monster, level 6, 1915 for the stats. It takes any illusion plus a light spellcaster. That's pretty generic, actually. Whitewood synergy, of course, all that stuff. You can only use the second and third effects of this card once per turn. Any battle damage your Amazena monsters other than her inflict to your opponent is doubled. Okay. And when your opponent activates a card or effect, quick effect, tribute this card, negate that effect. So it is just a straight up Omni negate as well. So you can put this on the field early. This is a nib counter as well as other hand trap counters if you get it early enough. That's pretty strong. And if this card is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can add one Sinful Spoils trap card from your deck to your hand. I don't know too many Sinful Spoils trap cards that are that worth it, especially if this is destroyed on your opponent's turn. It'd be like really, really slow. There are some traps that, like, if you can go through a combo where you destroy this turn one, but theoretically, if you make this, you don't want to destroy it yourself because you want to leave it on field to give you that like nib protection and all that stuff, just because of that second effect for sure. But yeah, that's sure. It's a float. It is a potential +1. All right. Next up, we have Amazena Mu Ciel Lago. Dark Illusion again. Takes any illusion and light spellcaster. Slightly better stats than the last one. First and third effects are once per turn. If this card is fusion summoned, you can add one Amazena or Sinful Spoils card from your deck to your hand. Just any of them. Just add any of them from your deck to your hand. Dang. Okay. Scary. We'll see how easy this card is to summon when we get to the spells and traps, I guess. But interesting. Okay. Yeah. Monsters your opponent controls lose 500 for each Amazena monster you control. That's cool that it, like, just this one already makes this live. So technically this card already is kind of like 25-29 just because of this effect. And gets even bigger from there for the more Amazena monsters you have. And if this card is destroyed by a card effect, add a Sinful Spoils spell from your deck to your hand. Okay. A little better there. Definitely. You can get Wanted off of this. That's already pretty good because I'm assuming Diabellstar and the Wanted engine may actually have some cool synergy with this archetype. We'll see later on. All right, next up we have Amazena Soul Alistic Tone. Jeez, brutal. Another illusion. Takes an illusion plus a fiend this time. Okay, getting fiends in there. This actually seems pretty makeable for the Chimera archetype. They're pretty fiend and illusion based. That's interesting. You can only use the first and second effect of this card once per turn. If this card is fusion summoned, target one card on the field, send it to the graveyard. Okay. So it's like a worse, what's his face? Dingirsu? It's like a worse Ding, because it targets. Ding doesn't target, but okay. On fusion summon, just send something. And during each standby phase, every standby phase, you can target an Amazena or Sinful Spoils card in your graveyard, add it to your hand. Sure. This card's fine. This card's like not great. Like maybe if just like the engine like super easily sets up a way for you to like make this on the opponent's turn, then maybe. But like I don't know. For something like the Chimera archetype, I would assume they just want to make Chimera instead. The big Chimera fusion instead of this guy anyway. But whatever. All right, Amazena Regina is our big fusion boss monster. Level 8 Dark Illusion. All Dark Illusions, by the way, which I kind of like. I've kind of complained so far that, like, the big new, like, monster theme is Illusion recently. But, like, we have not seen good Illusion stuff yet, or even just enough. It's been, like, so few cards here and there. But it looks like we finally have an archetype that's, like, pretty heavily based around Illusions. Using them as material and the monsters themselves, so that's cool. 2 hard ones per turn effects. Oh, it does take an illusion and a level 6 or higher fiend. Okay. You can only use the first and second effect once per turn. You can target one illusion monster in your graveyard, special summon it. Interesting. That's actually pretty interesting because that means you can use any of the other fusions here and then summon them back. Let's see though. So like you can summon back the negate. You can summon back this one. It won't get the search again because it only searches when it's fusion summoned, but you can, and this one only sends on its fusion summon. But okay, still, like a body's a body, plus you probably used a fusion to summon them in the first place, so you could target those as well. Second effect, when a Sinful Spoils or Amazena card or effect is activated, except for itself, target up to 2 cards on the field, destroy them. Okay. That seems pretty doable, right? That's the whole archetype. So if you can just summon this, you get a resource, and then you get a pop 2 at a later point just by activating any other Amazena or Sinful Spoils card. That's a pretty decent boss monster overall, I feel like. Its materials aren't too crazy. Yeah, all these, there's definitely some utility here, right? Like, you got a Searcher, you have an Omni Negate, you have a Send, and you have, like, a more impactful boss monster. This guy's the odd man out for sure. He's definitely the weakest one, but the other three definitely have some legitimacy for sure. Alright, let's see for the spells, because there's no main deck monsters, so how are we making these guys? Sacred Amazena. This is a normal spell. You can only use the second effect once per turn. First effect is not. Reveal an Amazena fusion monster in your extra deck, and send one Sinful Spoils card from your hand or field to the graveyard for every 4 levels it has. If those cards are set, reveal them. Then special summon the revealed monster. This is treated as a fusion summon. Second effect, if this card is in your graveyard, you could target an Amazena monster you control or engrave, shuffle in the deck, and if you do, add this to your hand. Whoa, that's such a strong add-back effect. Jeez. I guess all the Amazena monsters are extra deck monsters, so you would have to, like, fuse with it once, get that monster engrave, and then shuffle it back to use this if you don't want to shuffle something back that's on field, which I doubt you want to do very often. But for a non-once-per-turn fusion card, basically, being able to just kind of... like, put this, like, get it back to hand that easily is pretty good. Anyway, this is really interesting. So this is basically telling me that, like, instead of using illusions and light spellcasters like the fusion monsters say they require, you basically just use Sinful Spoils cards as your fusion material, right? Because all of these, it says for every 4 levels, but these cards are all above level 4. The smallest ones are level 6, which means I believe you still need to send 2 for. So you're still sending 2, I think. Oh, it is every 4 levels. So if there isn't a second set of 4 levels, maybe you only send 1 for all the level 6s, but you need to send 2 for the level 8. Maybe that's the ruling there. I don't know the exact ruling on that. That's what I'm going with off the top. Like, from right now, we can definitely look into that later. But I'm assuming that means send 1 for the 6s and 2 for the 8. Very interesting. Not a quick play, though, so you can't, like, chain it to something, to, like, a Sinful Spoils card that's already activating, but okay. Interesting. Very, very interesting for sure. I'm not sure if this is exactly the fusion spell we needed, but it's not the worst for sure, especially its ability to get itself, recycle itself, like, super easily. So this definitely gives me hard once per turn, or hard one-of vibes in that regard. All right, next up, next spell, Amazena Ophelitis. Quick play spell. You can only use one of its effects per turn, and only once that turn, so you cannot use both in the same turn. First effect, during the main phase, reveal an Amazena fusion in your extra deck and send a Sinful Spoils card from your hand and or field for every 4 levels it has. If those cards are set, reveal them, then special summon the revealed monster it's treated as a fusion summon. So basically the exact same as the other card's effect. Yeah, except a quick play. Okay, that makes this a little better because at least it's a quick play, so getting access to this, setting this, and being able to use it to summon one of the interruptions on the opponent's turn, especially maybe even if it's the guy who sends, is pretty good. Okay. And then, second effect, during your main phase, you can banish this card from your graveyard to target an Amazena monster in your graveyard, special summon it. So yeah, I get why they didn't want you to be able to use both in the same turn. Just being able to fuse and then also just get back maybe a fusion you had already made is pretty strong. So, okay, that's just a nice follow-up, I guess. So we'll take that still. Interesting. Okay, so cool. And then, trap card here. This is Amazena Hamartia. Normal trap. You can only use the first and second effects once per turn. Reveal an Amazena fusion in your extra deck. We've seen this before. And shuffle one Sinful Spoil cards from your graveyard and or banishment into the deck for every 4 levels it has. Then special summon the revealed monster. This is treated as a fusion. You can banish this card from your graveyard to target a Sinful Spoil spell or trap engrave. Set it, but it cannot be activated this turn. Okay, that's why you can use both in the same turn, because you can't even activate the Sinful Spoils cards you get. But that does mean you can, even if you can't activate it, you could still send it for the quick play fusion spell card. Very interesting. Okay, so this one's a little bit more cost effective, but of course it takes a little more setup. You need to get at least 1, if not 2, different Sinful Spoils cards in rotation just to make this card live, but I would assume that's what these cards are more for, right? Like, these guys help just send those, get those in rotation, and then this guy helps put them back to do even more fusioning. Alright, and the last card we have here is Sinful Spoils Deception. It's a continuous spell. You can only use the first, second, and third effect once per turn. That sounds pretty good to me. You contribute one monster from your hand or field. That is as cost. Add one Amazena card from your deck to your hand. That's a pretty good search effect. Okay. If a monster or monsters is sent to your opponent's graveyard and you control an Amazena monster, you can make your opponent lose 1,500 life points, and if you do, gain 1,500 life points. Whoa! Dang, that's a pretty brutal time win condition. That's a 3,000 point split, built into just like already what seems to be your best starter card in the deck. And then third effect, during the end phase of this card is in your graveyard because it was sent there from the face-up spell and trap zone this turn. You can set it. Wow, jeez, this card's crazy. This card's actually so strong, okay? So this card by itself goes like effect, search one of the fusion spells, then use one of the fusion spells, sending it. Assuming my ruling call was right, that we only need to send one to summon one of the 6s, you just send this to summon one of the 6s with, let's say, the regular spell. Then you summon probably her, or if you just want the Omni negate, you can go for the Omni. Then she adds any Amazena or Sinful Spoils card. We have not normal summoned. We have not done anything. In fact, this is the first summon, so you could theoretically get an Omni negate on first summon. But you summon her, she could add any Sinful Spoils card, which could be Wanted, into the Diabellstar, into Snake Eye, into whatever fire archetype you want from there, or another Amazena card for another fusion if you want. Wow. That makes this engine insane. I think one of the crazy things about this engine, so like maybe you have to play like one brick in like either this card or this card. You probably actually play the quick play, maybe. I think the quick play as an engine probably makes more sense because of that reborn effect that you just get for free later. Wow. Because you just play 3 copies of that continuous spell and then one like Sword of Brick. And then you're good to go. Dang. Interesting. But this one's a little better because it's a quick play, right? So like even if you just open this with Wanted, you can like activate Wanted and then chain this, sending the Wanted in the same chain link, and then you get both, and you still get to summon a fusion. So this one's much less of a brick in that regard. Wow. Or same thing with Original Sinful, right? You activate Original, chain this to send it. That's a pretty powerful engine of just like 3 copies of this, 1 copy of this, and then the Omni negate. 1 copy of the Omni negate and 1 copy of Rehea, so that she can search you into the Sinful Spoils engine if you didn't already open it. Very, very strong. Also, this card has Sinful Spoils in the name. That's another thing I didn't even touch on. That this is just also a card you can get off of Diabellstar if you don't even care about, Original or, Wanted or, any other Sinful Spoils card you could get. This seems like actually a pretty powerful engine. I'm not sure as a pure-on deck it's quite good enough. They may need another wave to really like make this into a full-on archetype on its own. But as like an engine, just like helping the Sinful Spoils engine even more, this definitely seems pretty dang strong. There's also no restrictions on this whatsoever. Very, very scary. Okay. Well, there we go. Pretty impactful stuff. I think this archetype's pretty scary. I would assume by the time we're even getting close to this set coming to the TCG, Snake Eyes will be hopefully sufficiently hit to where, like, we still don't have, like, pretty close to, full power Snake Eye, and then also adding on this engine on top of it, that's maybe too much. But if Snake Eye specifically is hit enough, but the Sinful Spoils engine still dances around, maybe some other decks could try and take advantage of the Sinful Spoils engine on top of that. That might be something they aim for. But all in all, pretty cool stuff. We'll see about the Goblin Biker stuff. If any of you have messed around with the Goblin Biker stuff specifically, please let me know in the comment section down below what you think of these 3 new cards. If you think they actually do provide a nice sufficient boost to them, I'd love to hear your thoughts down below on that. And also the Amazena stuff. If I missed anything specific on that, like, please fill me in on what else, what other applications these cards might have, because there's kind of a lot going on here. But I'm out of here for tonight. Thank you so much for watching, as always, guys. Let me know your thoughts down below. Stay tuned to the channel. I mean, this is 12 cards here, but we still have like 35 cards-ish, maybe over 30 cards left in the set, with less than 20 days left for the set to come out. So a ton of news still coming here. I will keep you posted on anything news that drops in the near future and going forward. So subscribe for that. I will see you guys in the next video, though. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.